I've tried making this video 3 times and it goes way over 30 minutes. It's crazy how much information is out there on this. I'm going to talk about AI and a couple other things. I've been playing around with AI and artificial intelligence. There are 2 sites. One allows you 12 questions and then they want $20 a month. The other one kind of allows you unlimited questions, and then if you want it faster, you pay $20 a month. And you've seen lots of stuff on the news and the internet about it, but do you need to be afraid of it, or is what they're saying true? Until you actually get on there and start typing it and then think about what type of use you could use it for, you're not going to know. Now, being a computer programmer, I thought I would get the AI to write my code. So I got on there and I wrote PHP SQL statement for connecting to a database. It gave me 23 lines of code. I was like, wow, copy paste, enter my database. Then I said PHP, how do I insert an image? 6 lines of code, there it was, copy paste. PHP COS animated button, there it was. I was just like, wow. So the AI can write the code, but you still have to be a programmer because you have to know what it does. But now you're just copying and pasting, and you're doing less error checking because the errors are not there. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I asked the AI to write me a country song. Within 3 seconds, I had a complete country song. So if I was to tailor my words on how I search, I'm sure it would get more precise and be better. So it looks good that AI is doing this, doesn't it? But let's look at the evil side of AI. Okay? You got the January 6th protests where people were getting 15 to 20 years. They had their cell phones. Cell phones ping a tower and leave an IP address. So now all I have to do is use the AI and say, between the hours of 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the afternoon on this day, I want to know all cell phones that were in that location. Within seconds, I have them. So I know the 1,000 or 3,000 people that were there protesting. All right. Now I tell the AI, go search social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and go and check this IP with facial recognition. These people were uploading pictures, video, and everything of that protest. So now I've gotten actual evidence of them being there. I have their face, I have their name, and now I have them breaking windows and just acting like complete idiots because they were in the moment. And I've got vandalism charges, I've got all kinds of charges because of themselves ratting on each other. And I used the entire AI setup to shut them down. So these people are getting 15, 20 years. They're trying to fight an AI and you can't fight it. You can't fight computers. You will lose. And, when you watch movies like Terminator and stuff, that's, a lot of that's high action to make it look good, but it's not truly what AI can do. From what I'm estimating, I'm seeing over 50% of the jobs out there gone within the next 5 years. They're already using delivery services in big cities to deliver food, 1 hour delivery with drones. I mean, it is just unbelievable how much technology is being used to remove the jobs. Factories are not going to have jobs. Everything's going to be made by artificial intelligence and robots. Um, Ubers, cabs, truck drivers, even though I've heard some truck drivers say, oh, they're never going to be able to get this out. Oh, they are. And they're very close. And it's all coming to an end. Some people say, oh, we're going to have to bring out a universal income to take care of these people that can no longer work, because a lot of people that drive truck don't have a heavy education. And truck drivers are kind of interesting. I have multiple clients that own trucking businesses, and one of their biggest gripes is they have a hard time getting drivers. Most of the drivers are drug addicts, they tell me. Because as long as they're not in a felon, and as long as they haven't broken certain laws, they can drive truck. And a lot of them will drive for 2 weeks, and then they'll come off the road and they won't drive for 2 weeks because they're too busy getting high. And then they'll call them up and they'll say, okay, I'm ready to go to work again. So these big, tons and tons of metal that are driving down the road, a lot of those drivers are high. Not all, but a good amount of them is. So when you want to tailgate them or get close to them or hit the brakes on them, you may be just setting yourself up for a suicide. Those trucks aren't safe to be around. And they're trying to remove those drivers, and they're trying to get everything to AI driving before you find this out. Same thing as when you go to fast food joint, people like McDonald's, Burger King, Subways. I mean, they've got people spitting on your sandwiches, just really gross things. And the only way to remove that again is to remove people and switch over to an AI, and now you know that food coming out the gate is going to be perfect. No human error. It's going to be made the same every single time. There are some things good about AI, but there are some things bad about AI. I even see AI going to the part of, was that sci-fi long ago, Judge Dredd? You know, you would be automatically judged at the stop. You wouldn't go to court. So now what happens is they say, do you know you're speeding? You're going 20 miles over. You look at the cop and say, not true. I wasn't doing that. He'll say, so you're pleading not guilty? And you'll say, yes, I am. And then all of a sudden he hold up his mic or whatever and he'll say, hear ye, judge is in session. The AI will judge this. How do you plea? And you're going to say not guilty. And then the AI is going to gather the information and put it back to you and say, well, you were doing over 20 here. You're doing over 15 here. I'm sorry. You've been judged guilty. Your fine is $325. Do you wish to pay it or do you wish to have your card towed? Give them a credit card if you want to keep going. You look at China, they're running AI at an unbelievable fast pace where they are watching every single citizen on cameras. You can Google this. And what's going on there is if you help an old lady across the street, they give you a couple points. If you throw garbage on the road, they take a couple points from you. Your credit score is going up and down. It's fluctuating. So what ends up happening now is you either have a good credit score because you're a good person, or your credit card ends up being shit and because you did a few things you weren't supposed to do. And it also determines, well, because your credit score wasn't so good, you have to sit at the back of the train. Oh, you have a good credit score. Okay, you get to sit at the front of the train where the wider seats are. They're doing it so slow, I don't think people are aware of what's happening. If you were going to a protest, the best thing to do is take your phone, take that Face ID out now, and get one of those bags, pull the battery out, shove it in the bag, and seal it when you go. Have a mask, like an anonymous mask, and then do your protest. Because you're fighting against an AI that is allowed to scan you between IPs with your phone and what's going on. And the first thing you see everybody doing when there's a situation, they've all got their phones up in the air, is what they got going. Your phone is your enemy. It's ratting you out. And that's all there is to it. And if you're going into something that looks like protests or events or anything, you don't want it on. I mean, you're better off to have yourself an Osmo if you're going to record something because that's not connected. And then people have to get more aware of what's going on. Now, you look at cameras in the way of police, you see constantly police getting caught over and over and being charged with murder because of the cameras now. Can you imagine what that was like when I was in my 30s and I had some real asshole cops back in those days? What they were doing back then when they weren't on camera and how they were over exercising their power. So we know there's a problem in the police force. And it was worse when I was in my 30s, 30 years ago, compared to what it is. It's getting better now. So cameras are keeping people honest. Why anybody would want to be a cop when they only make 30, 40 grand a year, depending on where they live, and the shit they got to deal with. Drunks, prostitutes, drugs, sticking themselves, meth. I mean, Their life is in danger on a constant. They don't get paid enough, and neither do teachers. But I mean, they must really like the power. That's about the only thing I can figure with that. But AI is going to take over 50% of the jobs, and I don't know where people are going to go with it. Like I hear a lot of people saying, go into the trades, learn how to be a carpenter, learn how to be a plumber. I think AI is going to assist them. I think AI is going to assist a programmer for a while until it actually writes the code. I don't think the programmer is going to write the code. I think the programmer is going to instruct the AI on the flow of the code. So the programmer is going to say, all right, I want a button here, click the button, then it's going to display this list. And then after this list over to the right, I want a print button. And then I want it to print on, 1,000 different printers. And mainly what a programmer is going to do is instruct the flow. And then probably that'll change in time too, but that's probably what's going to happen. But you shouldn't have your Face ID in your phone. A cop will just hold that up to your face and say thank you. Whether it's illegal or not, he'll just do it. And then he'll say you were chatting on your phone when you were driving down the highway. You'll say, no, I wasn't. He'll look at your phone, pull up your email, and then he'll turn around and say, well, look at that. 2 minutes ago you sent a text. You were still driving then because I was behind you. I'm writing you a ticket for that. Don't run Face ID. Put a number in your phone. Don't be lazy. In my truck, I've got 3 cameras pointing 3 different directions when I get pulled over. And I'll tell you right now, when I have been pulled over by the police with those cameras, they see them. And I want them to see them. And I've even had the odd cop look at me and say, oh, I see you're recording. And then I'll point at his vest and I'll say, I see you're recording. He'll say, yes, I am. I says, well, as long as cameras are on, we're all being honest. He says, yes, we are. And he is super professional when he knows those cameras are running. You have to protect yourself. And that's all there is to it. Nobody else will. Cops are not your friend. Government's not your friend. We know the government's not your friend because look what's going on in Hawaii. Those people have no houses. Biden sent $700 a household, not even 700 persons, 700 a household. What do you do? Feed them for a couple days? And then you got that train wreck that totally destroyed that town. You don't hear them talking about that much. Babies getting cancer, people getting cancer. Their houses ain't worth shit. But yet we're sending millions over to Ukraine. And we're like, what is going on here? Why are you not helping Americans? They're not helping Americans because they know that they want to go to war against Russia one day. And right now, by using Ukraine, they're using Ukraine citizens to fight the Russian war. We're sending them billions of dollars to do it, but we're not using American lives. So Russia's depleting their men, Ukraine's depleting their men, and then finally Russia will be down to nothing. We'll walk right in with NATO and take it. And we'll make up some excuse on how we're right in doing it. We're also able to see what kind of power and Russia has on their old equipment. We're not seeing any high advanced technical stuff like we have here in the U.S. Now, he's gone and made a meeting with the guy in North Korea. Is that for men? Is that for people? We don't know. But in the coming weeks, we're going to find out. And I'm sure Russia's not going to educate him on his missiles to even go further. That's a bad situation waiting to go down. But one thing's for sure, the United States is grabbing AI and they're hanging on to it because it is the new thing. It's the big internet. It's the next new thing that is going to change everything. And it's not there for you unless you know how to use it, unless you learn how to use it in your business. But when you're going to college or if you're going to school and you're going to take on those big bills, you really want to understand how AI is going to affect your life. And if AI is involved in any way, shape, or form, you don't want to go for that job. You don't want to be a computer programmer like me because AI is going to take it. Can an AI be a psychologist? I tested that. I was asking questions like, I feel bad today, or I feel like I'm committing suicide today, just to see what the AI would come back with. It was pretty impressive. I asked the AI questions and said, my wife is beating on me. She doesn't seem very happy. It came across with some very, very good answers like a marriage counselor. So I think we're in trouble with AI. Now, I don't think it's going to affect me that bad because I'll just have more cameras to protect myself. But I think this next generation before me is going to have a hard time, and poverty is going to be a lot higher. And a lot more people are going to give up, and you're going to see higher people on meth. You're going to see more homeless people. When people give up, it's a dog eat dog world. So, what do you think of AI? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's going to benefit your life? Do you think it's going to make your life more prosperous? Or do you think it just gives the government more control and mainly it just puts us all in a bad place? I really don't see how AI is going to benefit too many people. But if you get anything out of this video, take your Face ID out of your phone, put it in a number, and when a cop pulls you over, I wouldn't even have a phone for recording. I would turn my phone off and I would have separate cameras for recording so this way he can't access my phone in case he takes it away from me. And that's all there is to it. Or I would have two phones, and one phone that I talk to everybody on I would kill, and then the other phone I would simply make my video and there's nothing on it. But you really have to rethink how you're using your phones and what they're doing because they very well could be your worst nightmare. They could be the rat that takes you out. Because it is what happened in January 6th. Those phones took people out with the combination of AI and facial recognition and them wanting to post to social media. It was the nail in their coffin. So think about that. When you use any new technology, don't act like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Really think about the negative side and say, how can this be used against me? And then think about how you're going to protect yourself. Anyhow, just some things I was thinking about. Catch you guys on the next one.